Today, we're going to tell the biggest story ever. Seriously. It's a story that kicks off at the very beginning of reality itself and leads right up to a huge choice we all have to make about our future, out there, in the cosmos. So let's start where it all started.
So what is this story? Well, it's this massive, sweeping narrative about where literally everything came from, what it's all made of, and maybe, just maybe, where it's all heading. It's not just any story, it's our story.
And our story starts in a place that wasn't really a place, at a time before there was, well, time. 13.8 billion years ago, everything you know, every single star, every planet, every atom in your body, it was all crammed into a point so dense it's almost impossible to imagine.
And that brings us to Act 1, the beginning, our cosmic origin story. It all starts with a bang, kind of.
You know, the popular image of the Big Bang is this giant explosion in space. But that's not quite right. It was the expansion of space itself. A better way to think of it is as the everywhere stretch. In a blink of an eye, the universe just swelled from smaller than an atom to bigger than a galaxy, creating this super hot, dense, primordial soup of particles. For 380,000 years, it was this murky, opaque fog, until it cooled down just enough for the first atoms to form, releasing the very first light, a flash that we can actually still see echoing across the universe today.
And listen, this isn't just some wild guess. Our origin story is backed up by three huge pillars of evidence. First, we can see galaxies rushing away from us, which proves that everywhere stretch. Second, we've actually detected the afterglow of creation, that first light, now stretched out into microwaves. And third, the amount of the basic elements we see out there today, it perfectly matches what the theory predicted. I mean, the case is pretty much closed. This is how our universe began. So, over the next few billion years, gravity got to work. It started grabbing the little clumps in that primordial soup and, very patiently, sculpted them into the incredible structure we see today. A massive, interconnected cosmic web of shimmering galaxies. But this is where our story takes a really mysterious turn.
Welcome to Act 2, the unseen universe. Because it turns out, right when we thought we were getting the plot, we found out that almost the entire story was completely hidden from us.
Take a look at this number, 5%. That's it. Everything we've ever seen, every star, every galaxy, every single planet, all the stuff we thought was the universe, well, it adds up to a tiny 5% of what's actually out there. So, what in the world is the other 95%? Well, it turns out our universe is dominated by two things we can't see and we barely understand. About 27% is something we call dark matter, and a mind-blowing 68% is dark energy. We're not just living in the universe, we're living in a dark universe.
Okay, so what's the difference between these two? Think of it like this. Dark matter is like the cosmic scaffolding. It's this invisible force that pulls stuff together, giving galaxies the framework they need to form. Dark energy is the total opposite. It's the cosmic accelerator, a repulsive force that's actually built into the fabric of space itself, and it's pushing everything apart faster and faster. So you've got one building things up and the other tearing it all down.
And we know this invisible stuff is really there. We see its fingerprints everywhere. Stars in the outer edges of galaxies are spinning way too fast, impossibly fast, held in orbit by the gravity of something we can't see. We see light from distant galaxies get bent as it passes through what should be empty space. It's totally clear. The universe has a hidden architecture. Which brings our story to Act 3. Humanity takes the stage. For 13 billion years, the universe was just doing its thing, but then, on one little planet, a brand new character showed up. A character that could actually look up at the sky and start to piece this whole incredible story together.
And our journey to discovery? It's been picking up speed like crazy. For most of history, we just guessed what stars were. Then, bam, 1929, we learned the universe is expanding. 40 years after that, we walked on the moon. Just 30 years later, we discovered dark energy. And in the last 10 years alone, we've got reusable rockets and the James Webb Telescope. Each leap gets bigger and happens faster. In a cosmic blink of an eye, we've gone from just watching the show to being part of the action.
And that all leads us to the climax of the story, Act 4, A Future Among the Stars. This is the part we're living in right now, facing some of the biggest questions about the universe and about ourselves.
But just as we feel like we're finally getting it, a giant plot hole has appeared in our story. It's called the Hubble Tension. Here's the problem.
When we measure how fast the universe is expanding based on its past, looking at the Big Bang's afterglow, we get one speed. But when we measure its expansion based on the present by looking at stars near us, we get a faster speed. The numbers don't add up. It's like reading the first and last pages of a book and finding they belong to different stories. And this isn't just a small mistake. It might mean a fundamental part of our cosmic story is just plain wrong.
Now, while our understanding of the universe is hitting some snags, our presence in it is absolutely exploding. The story of space isn't just about two superpowers anymore. You've got countries like China, India, the UAE, plus private companies all writing their own chapters now. This isn't just a race anymore. It's the dawn of a new era of astropolitics, where the competition for resources and influence has officially left the planet.
And as we push further out, we run into some really deep ethical questions. Like Carl Sagan said, what right do we have to go to other worlds? If we find even the tiniest little microbe on Mars, do we have the right to disturb its home? Our own expansion is forcing us to figure out our responsibilities as a species.
So what does the next chapter look like? Well, here's one possibility. We get a fragmented frontier. Basically, all the rivalries and problems we have down here on Earth just get exported up into space. The old dream of a shared cosmos for all, it falls apart, and space just becomes another battlefield.
Or maybe a crisis forces our hand, a near miss with an asteroid, or a terrible collision in orbit that makes us realize we have to work together. That's the cooperative commons scenario, where we finally create real binding laws to manage space for everyone's benefit.
And then there's a third way this could go, the commercial imperium. In this future, it isn't countries calling the shots anymore. It's a few megacorporations. The rules of space aren't decided by treaties. They're decided by corporate terms of service. The final frontier becomes the ultimate private venture.
Which brings us to the end of our story so far, and right to the beginning of our own. After 13.8 billion years of cosmic evolution, we are, as Carl Sagan famously put it, the means by which the universe contemplates itself. The whole story of everything has led right here to this moment. The pen is in our hands now. That next chapter, it's completely blank. So the question is, what story are we going to write?